Real Madrid end 2025 on a high note after defeating Sevilla 2-0 in the Santiago Bernabeu in the last game of the 2025 year in La Liga. Very typical game of Real Madrid, a Real Madrid that I still don't see any cohesiveness on the pitch. I sense that the players really just aren't trying. Whatever they say off pitch about supporting their coach, supporting Xabi Alonso, I just don't see it on the pitch. I see a team that is lost. I see a team that has no idea what kind of tactics they're playing. I see a team that's just going out there and playing whatever kind of soccer to just get the W needed. At the end of the day, the most important thing for Real Madrid right now is winning the games, and especially for Xabi Alonso's. But I'm not seeing any of Xabi Alonso's tactics in Real Madrid anymore. If we rewind back to when he started the season in the Club World Cup, that was the Real Madrid that Xabi Alonso inherited. And that's the Real Madrid that a lot of people thought we were going to see all season long. And in the beginning of the season, it was looking that way. Real Madrid were really hustling, tracking back. I saw a lot of intensity. I saw a lot of high pressure from the players. And ever since the Clásico, everything's gone downhill. It seems that the players have lost trust in Xabi Alonso. They either don't believe in his tactics or they just simply are too lazy to implement his tactics. Because in today's game, Real Madrid win because of two great plays. One coming from Rodrigo, who gives a great assist to Bellingham. And Bellingham does what he used to do best for Real Madrid when he started his career with them. Whenever he's inside the box, he finds a way to get the ball in the back of the net. Great header from him in the 38th minute. And then the most classic way Real Madrid gets goals. Mbappe sliding a penalty home. And that's no bash to Mbappe or to Real Madrid. But if we look at the stats, Mbappe probably has over 50% of the goals all season. I would say at least 30 to 40% are from the penalty spot. Defensively in this game, I'm not sure what happened to Real Madrid. I understand that Militao is the leader of the defensive line, but to lose a player and to play this way in today's game was very shocking, especially because we got guys like Dean Housen who came back, who to me is the most technical player that Real Madrid has in the defensive line. I think he is very tactical. I think he knows how to position himself very well, and I think he's a great defender. And when they signed him from Bournemouth, I was honestly pretty jealous of Real Madrid because I was hoping that Barcelona could sign a player of his characteristics. And he started out the season very great, and then he got injured, and then we just haven't seen the same level of play from Housen at the beginning of the season to the current Housen we're seeing now, and especially the Housen we saw against Sevilla. I mean, in the first 2 minutes, he gave the ball away that nearly almost led to Sevilla opening the scoreline against Real Madrid. And then Rudiger. I honestly think Rudiger is the most selfish, reckless defender Real Madrid has. I'm honestly shocked he still starts at the center back role. I mean, I understand with Militao being out, he kind of has to start. Real Madrid really has no other options outside of him. He just seems to do whatever he wants. He's so reckless. There's times in the game where he just did not track back in a clear play that I believe it was Alexis Sanchez getting the ball. He played Isaac Romero in, and that was Rudiger's assignment. He should have fouled him, and he simply didn't. It was a lack of concentration, and that's just a bad misread for a player of his caliber, especially when you're playing with Real Madrid. The fullbacks, I'm sure Real Madrid fans are going to want Alvaro Carreras back because Fran Garcia, I thought he had an alright game, but he isn't the same type of player. He's very speedy, but he lacks in the one-on-ones, and Alvaro Carrera is really good defending the one-on-ones. And I think today Fran Garcia struggled a bit. But overall, I didn't think the fullbacks were at fault at all. I was surprised with the inclusion of Asensio at the right back, considering that Xabi Alonso had given some minutes to players from La Castilla, and I thought he was going to do that again. But he decided to go with Asensio, and I personally don't like Asensio as a fullback. I personally don't like Asensio as a center back. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. I think he's another player that started off the season really good, and then he started losing confidence, or he just entered a run of bad form, and he just hasn't been the same player. In the midfield, we got Tchouaméni, Güler, and Bellingham. I thought Bellingham had another great game. Bellingham has really come on in the last few games because at the beginning of the season, I didn't think he was that great. Past few games, he's really been running his ass off, trying to control that midfield. Bellingham, I mean, really round of applause for him. Great goal, like I mentioned in the 38th minute. He did what he needed to do. He really attacked the ball. The defender just waited for the ball. He attacked it, got in front of him, and he put it in the back post. It was a great finish from Bellingham. It reminded me of the Bellingham that we used to see when he first started with Real Madrid, where whenever he would get the ball inside the box, he would find a way to put it in the back of the net. And I think that's what Real Madrid need at this moment, because I think that they tend to have a dependency on Mbappe to score. And if you can get Bellingham going, if you can get Bellingham at his top form, I think Real Madrid will do a lot better in 2026. I really did like Bellingham's game today. I think that him and Guller finally worked in the midfield. They didn't get into each other's ways. I think they both did a great job to just maintain the space it needed to maintain for Real Madrid. And it was the first time I seen it work between both players. Up front, what can you really say about Rodrigo? I think if Rodrigo doesn't start in 2026, it's a huge mistake from Xabi Alonso, and maybe it gives the players the right to criticize him. I think that Rodrigo has to start. I've been saying it about Rodrigo. Every time he came off the bench, he was impactful. He would either assist, or he'd create a lot of chances, or he'd score. And today, I mean, he had the assist. He won the foul that awarded that free kick, and then he went ahead and took the free kick himself, put a great ball into Bellingham. In the second half, he had a play inside the box where he literally lobs into himself and nearly scores an absolute screamer. I got to be completely honest. Rodrigo is the best Brazilian on Real Madrid in the moment, and that's not a shot at Vinicius Jr. Rodrigo has just been a guy who has proven himself off the bench and when he's gotten the chances at the starting 11. I think he has to start in 2026. There's really no excuse for Xabi Alonso not to start him going forward. Mbappe and Vinicius. I'll keep this one short for both because I feel like we talk a lot about Mbappe and a lot about Vinicius. We'll start with Mbappe. Mbappe is obviously the best player in the world. Today, I thought Mbappe was a little too selfish, and that's an issue because I think that's an issue that we saw at PSG and what led to Luis Enrique deciding that, you know what, I don't want Mbappe on the squad because he's not helping me out with my idea. Instead, he's playing with his own selfish ways. But at some point, you do have to play for the team. I think today there was one opportunity in the second half where he's standing outside the box and he has Vinicius Jr. on the left, and I believe he has another player on his left side too, both going in clear on goal. And instead of trying to pass the ball over to his teammates, he takes a very unbalanced shot that ends up in the hands of Sevilla's goalkeeper. I understand that Mbappe probably wanted to tie and possibly break Ronaldo's record of most goals scored in a calendar year for Real Madrid. When you're only up by one and your team is struggling and you see that it's not really working offensively, you're not really connecting the passes you were hoping to connect at the start of the game or as the game progressed, you have to take those chances. You have to trust in your teammates, put trust in Vinicius Jr. They were both going clear on goal, and they probably would have been able to score the goal if Mbappe would have passed it to them. Nonetheless, Mbappe still gets his goal in the 83rd minute thanks to a penalty. He ties Cristiano Ronaldo's record for most goals scored in a calendar year for a Real Madrid player. Without Mbappe, Real Madrid probably wouldn't even be sitting in the second position in La Liga, and they probably wouldn't be sitting where they are in the Champions League either. Like I mentioned before, he 100% has scored at least 50 or more percent of the goals for Real Madrid. I would have to check that stat, but I'm willing to bet that he has scored at least 50% of Real Madrid's goals this season. And like I said, I don't think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for Mbappe because he's showing the world that he is a top player, but it's not a great thing for Real Madrid. I don't think a team like Real Madrid should have a dependency on one player, and we've seen it without Mbappe on the pitch, how much they struggle to score. And even when he is on the pitch, they're still struggling to play at a cohesive level, and I don't think they're just playing to anything. I see a lot of lazy players not tracking back. I see a lot of lazy players not pressing the way that Xabi Alonso would want to. It just seems like for Real Madrid right now, the players are a little above the coaches, and I think it all started because of Vinicius Jr. If I'm being completely honest, now you guys are gonna think I'm a Vinicius Jr. hater. I'm not. I just don't like the way he presents himself. And I mean, I think a lot of people would have the same opinion. Today, Vinicius Jr. was simply all right. I think he had a very normal game. He played a great ball to Mbappe in one chance that Mbappe just couldn't finish. And like I said, I think Rodrigo had a better game than him. I understand why the Bernabeu is whistling him, maybe even some boos raining down. It's because they expect more of a player like Vinicius Jr. They expect him to be at the level that he was when they won the Champions League with him. And he just hasn't been that player. Ever since he lost the Ballon d'Or, he's really just not been the player that he was when he maybe should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. Did that loss of the Ballon d'Or really just hurt his ego that much that now he is trying to overcompensate and that's leading to bad runs of form? Quite possibly. He has not looked great in 2025. He hasn't looked great ever since the end of last season. So we'll see what comes of 2026 for Real Madrid. Like I said, I don't think any players are above the coaches, but it seems that at Real Madrid, after that tantrum that Vinicius threw when he got subbed off, the club didn't come out and back Xabi Alonso. It seemed that Xabi Alonso just can't get a grasp of the locker room, and it's affecting them on the pitch. And it seems that the players simply are just not listening to Xabi Alonso's tactics, because we saw what Real Madrid was at the beginning of the season. We saw them in the Club World Cup and how they played, and that was complete Xavi ball. And now they're just really back to playing whatever they want to do, deciding, you know what, we're Real Madrid, we're the starting 11, we got skills, we got talent on this team. Let's just do what we think is best and not listen to the coach. It hasn't worked out, because you see a team out there that wins the games, yes, but namely because of two players, Mbappe and Courtois, and not because they're playing to an idea or anything, and not because they're tactically better than the other team. It's simply because Courtois has saved them all season, and Mbappe has been able to score the chances he's gotten. That's the only reason Real Madrid's winning. And in the beginning of the season, I think they were actually winning because you actually saw the tactical work. You saw players like Mastantuono, who hasn't been able to play since his injury, but a lot of people were bashing him because his stats weren't great. But he was doing the work that Xabi Alonso wanted him to do. And I think that's why Xabi Alonso gave him that continuity in his starting 11, because he loved how tactical of a player he was. And now he doesn't have that on the pitch. It's a bunch of players that think they're above the coaches. If this continues, I just simply don't see anyone saving Real Madrid. Sure, they'll continue to win against mid-table or lower-table teams, but what's going to happen when they play a great team? What's going to happen when they really have to dig deep? Do they have that inside them to dig deep and to listen to Xabi Alonso's tactics? Now, I don't want to put the whole blame on the players, because I know that a lot of it also has to come from the coach. But when the club doesn't back up your coach, then what does that mean for the players? Are the players going to respect this coach if the president or the directors aren't respecting him either? Nonetheless, Real Madrid get the W. That's all that matters. Xabi Alonso ends 2025 on a good note. I think there are more tests to come in 2026 for Xabi Alonso, starting with the first game back from break against Real Betis at home, and then he's got the Supercopa against Atletico Madrid. I'm hearing rumors that the Supercopa might be his last test to really prove himself. So if Real Madrid doesn't win, or if they lose in the semifinals to Atletico Madrid, who knows if Xabi Alonso will be back. Regardless, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Real Madrid. Is it Xabi Alonso's fault? Is it the players' fault? Do the players have too big of an ego to control, and Xabi Alonso has really lost the locker room? Has he lost the respect of his players? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.